Hello, co-opers and listeners. Welcome to Co-opcast, the official podcast for the University Cooperative Housing Association. I'm Rodrigo Lara, and I'll be your host for today. On this episode, we start our second season, the winter 2021, and we have our special guest today, Adrian Acosta. He's a PhD student on chemical engineering, and he does research on nanoscale magnetic and magnetoelectric materials. And he will be our new host for this season with episodes about research. Hello, Adrian. How are you? How do you feel?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for interested in participating. So yeah, I would like to ask you our first question. Like, it's very interesting, intriguing. What is that you research? Nanoscale magnetic and magnetoelectric materials. Can we talk a little more about that?
Yeah, I can try to expand a little bit more on that. So the first word in there is nanoscale. The thing I want to mention is that materials often behave like much different at the nanoscale than what we see at like macro scale sizes. So what I mean by nanoscale are, looking at phenomena of materials, especially at very, very small scales. And you get like weird effects that happen at the nanoscale because of lots of weird quantum physics, right? For when it comes to magnetic and magnetoelectric materials, they have lots of applications for modern technology, like memory devices or transistors. So for those of you that don't know, a lot of modern memory devices, like for storage, are based on magnetic materials. And as most people are aware, like digital information is usually stored as zeros and ones, right? So at the material level, that's whether the magnetic material is pointing in one direction or the other, that makes the one and the zero. That's a simplistic way of looking at it. And so what I kind of study are like some of the different ways that we can control making a material point its magnetism from the zero to the one position. Like, can we do it more efficiently with, these interesting nanoscale effects? So you can imagine that normally you control magnetic materials with magnetic fields. Can we control them with electric fields, for example, which is more energy efficient? So that's one example. Does that help explain kind of what I do?
Yes. Wow. That's nice. That's super cool, actually. I don't understand much about it, but I can imagine that from what you said, it's like you said that your research is related to like a storage of like a memory of electronic devices and also energy use. Because for me, like I know nothing about it. I thought it was like everything in the cloud. Like wasn't that like a cloud in the air that you store things or like my files is not in the sky? And tell me something also. Do we have the formula for like an infinite battery? I'm sure like Apple has it, but they hold it like to like keep making obsolete cell phones to sell it.
Okay. When you say infinite battery, do you mean that it lasts forever?
Yes, that you don't need to
Uh,
like charge it all the time, or like it
so
dies at some point forever.
right, like your phone, like the battery ends up getting like worse and worse after like a year or two, right?
Yeah, that's
Um,
you.
so the short answer is a lot of people spend a lot of money researching how to make them last longer. And so the short answer is no, there isn't, and people do want to find that because it's kind of
Hmm.
like if you can make one that lasts longer, you can make a lot of money selling it. So um, the main problem. So I'm not a researcher in battery like
Hmm.
devices or battery chemistries, but what I know is that the reason that it degrades over time, especially lithium ion batteries, is because the material itself degrades with every charge cycle, because what you're doing is in the lithium, so lithium ion batteries, from the name itself, you have lithium ions in the chemistry, and those lithium ions, you're using energy to store them in, essentially in a crystal where it takes energy to put them inside a crystal where they don't want to go without a driving force.
Uh-huh.
And so that crystal degrades over time because it's expanding, and that expansion and contraction over time kind of degrades the material. So with every discharge and charge cycle, you're kind of expanding and and contracting the material more and more. So it's kind of degrading over time. So
Okay.
that's kind of the basics of what I know. That like
Mm-hmm.
this lithium intercalation cycle just degrades the material like with over a couple thousand cycles. So it's a very active area of research on making them last longer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that they spend like many billions of dollars in this area. It's actually probably one of the biggest areas in chemistry, making
Mm-hmm.
batteries last longer.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think I remember something from my chemistry class in high school. But yeah, so
If
pay
you can
attention
make
to
one,
that.
you'll make a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. One day they will invent it, like the infinite battery. Or I don't know, solar. They have like solar stuff, energy from light.
Right,
Great
like
if all
especially
things
for,
were work like that.
yeah, like also for cars, right? That
Yeah.
if you're spending a lot of money on a car with a battery, you don't want to have to replace the battery after like 10 years, right? Or
Yeah.
like a normal car can last you much longer than 10 years, right? So it
Mhm.
helps improve the life cycle of an electric vehicle.
Nice. Cool. And tell me something, Adrian. How long have you been studying that?
So right now I'm a fourth year PhD student at
Mm-hmm.
UCLA. So uh, basically 4 years. I knew
Mm-hmm.
absolutely nothing about how magnetism works, magnetic materials, or anything when I came to UCLA to do research. It's more like
Mm-hmm.
uh, I found a lab that I thought looked like they did interesting things, and I kind of just was dropped on this project where they do research on like magnetic materials, and then like I knew absolutely nothing really, and I've and but then I ended up finding it incredibly interesting and seeing like just how much potential there is for technology like this in the future. Because for like making like more modern technology, it's not just about making it smaller, but making
Mm-hmm.
it more energy efficient is very important because one, going back to the battery, you waste less battery, and in general, like we use a lot of energy to run the world. So having
Yes.
like using less energy to run the world, that's better for the environment, like cost and
Definitely.
efficiency overall, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Great. And Adrian, yeah, you've been studying that for 4 years. And how long have you been living at Co-op? Like about 2 years, 1 year and a half, right?
I've been living here, yeah, 1 year and a half now, actually. So, um, uh, when I first came to UCLA, I was actually living in the graduate housing here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and needless to say, it's very expensive. The unit, like the UCLA affiliated graduate housing. And so, and I also lived in some other areas nearby. I didn't find out about the co-op until, yeah, about like 2 years ago, and it sounded too good to be true at first.
Yes,
And
exactly. Me
I
too.
was honest, I was honestly surprised that I hadn't heard about it before, because if I
Mm-hmm.
knew about it from the beginning, I would have lived here from the beginning.
Yes, me too. Same. And I wonder, yeah, you probably are super busy with your studies and your research and work. So how does it balance with like co-op living? Because in co-op you have your short shift, you have like groupie age, you sometimes you have a roommate that talks to you all the time. So how do you balance that? How is your researcher life compared to your co-opper life?
Yeah, I mean, I can say a couple things about that. Like the first thing is I feel like living at the co-op as a grad student, it's almost like a life hack in terms of the improvement in the quality and efficiency of your life, because I don't have to spend any energy thinking about what I'm gonna eat that day. I don't have to
Yes.
spend energy like preparing food. So
Hmm.
like on days that you're very busy, it's great that I don't have to spend time cooking. I can just show up at the co-op, grab my food real quick, and so not all grad students do like experimental research or in like science and engineering, but as someone in
Hmm.
that, there's days where I might have to spend a lot of time in the lab. So it's great that I can just allocate some of that mental energy away. And
Hmm.
so yeah, and my weekdays might be pretty busy, so it's been fine just scheduling my quarterly, I mean my weekly chore on the weekends.
Hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, whoa. I was expecting a different answer. I thought like you were like maybe you would stress out because you need to study and like work maybe in the kitchen and deal with a roommate. But yeah,
I mean,
I totally get your life gets better actually when you move to co-op and you are living after you're living somewhere else. And you said like it was like too good to be true. So tell me what was your expectation before you moved to co-op? What were you scared about it or oh, I need to check that. Wow, is that real? Like you have like free food there? What is that?
exactly. Yes. So I mean, yeah, like from two perspectives. I mean, one is the rent is very cheap for
Hmm.
the area. So that's one thing. But yeah, like you said, like the free food. So even
Hmm.
if you didn't include the free food in the rent, it's still very cheap. And
Yes,
then you throw
I
in food on
agree.
top of that,
Uh-huh.
like it sounded way too good to be true at first.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
but and so I mean, I will say, like when I first got here, the food was great. It was amazing. I heard from a lot of other co-opers, like when I first got here, like they felt sick of the food. In my opinion, yeah, you do get a little bit sick of the food over time, but when you
Yeah.
weigh it against not having to cook it,
Uh-huh.
uh,
Yeah, definitely. I love
that's a
co-op
great
food.
trade-off.
Uh, yeah, another question that I always ask here, what you said about the food. So what would you change about co-op? What would you improve in co-op? Like, what would be your idea or what would you do, a project or
Uh,
whatever?
oh, great question. So I think a lot of people feel like the vegetarian options could be better. I think they have gotten a little bit better since I got here, so that has been
Mm-hmm.
an improvement. Um, so the rice is also okay; it's perfectly fine. But I feel like eating it every single day. If there was one single thing I could improve, was the quality of the rice itself, because I have it for every meal except
Yes.
breakfast.
Yeah,
So if
I
there's one thing
totally
I can
get
improve,
you.
it's the rice.
No, rice for me is like full of garlic and season and everything of
Yes,
this rice.
yes.
But yeah, that's
Like
another
not just
episode of podcast of the Co-opcast just for talking about the rice. Yeah, you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. All right. Well, you will be our new host. Yeah, for special episodes about research at Co-op. How do you feel about it? What are your expectations? What's your idea? Can you tell us about your idea for your episodes?
yeah. So I noticed when I got here, I was kind of expecting when I initially got to the co-op that it would be mostly undergrads. And I was surprised to see that there's a wide amount of like so many grad students doing a wide variety of research in of many topics, both like science and engineering, but also in like humanities. And I thought that was very interesting. And just talking to other people around the co-op, you like get to like learn a little bit about what they're doing. So I was thinking that, they're working on such interesting things. We can maybe have a like longer discussion and expand a little bit about what we do, and like teach a couple more people about like what it is that we do and why is that interesting, and Why is that important for both like like our society, or what
Nice.
new perspective can you bring to society, right?
Wow, that's great. That's very nice. And Adrian, what would be now the final question? What's your final message for new members or I don't know alumni or people who want to do research or apply for a PhD at UCLA? What's your message? What's your main advice for them?
Yeah, so I think actually the fact that there are a lot of other grad students around the co-op gives you a great opportunity to talk to people about what are the pros and cons of going to grad school. A lot of people like me, I didn't really even know like what grad school was all about until like my junior year of college. And like applying to grad school often involves like preparing very early. If you're applying to like PhD programs, they want to see that you have like a research, a history of doing research. And so if you get started on that earlier rather than later, that's great. And so I feel like if I had, had the opportunity to like talk to more grad students about like what it is that they do as a grad student, I would have gotten interested in research a lot earlier and been able to be even more prepared both for grad school and my future career.
Nice. That's a great advice. Thank you so much, Adrian. That was it. I'll see you on next episode.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, sure. That was it for today. Thank you for listening to the Co-opcast. If you want to know more about the Co-opcast or Co-op in general, go to the website www.uchajonline.com. And if you want to take part on the Co-opcast, reach out to us. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for next episodes and stay safe. Goodbye.